Who is the Son of Man? Hey everyone, I'm Matthew Vandrails, one of the community pastors at Founded in Truth Fellowship. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and hey, click that little bell to be notified whenever we post new content or go live every single week with our weekly church services. Also, feel free to comment below. We would love to hear your feedback regarding this video. If you have any questions, post them below. In this week's Fitbit, we're going to look at a rather vague character mentioned in a prophecy in the book of Daniel, the Son of Man. This is also the most used title that Jesus uses to refer to himself in the gospel accounts found in the New Testament. And that's not a coincidence. The term Son of Man is used by Yeshua like over 80 times as a way to refer to himself. 32 times in Matthew, 14 times in Mark, 26 times in Luke, and I believe 10 times in John. Now, this term, the Son of Man, is used in a few places in the Old Testament, in the Hebrew Bible, and it gives different images depending on where it is located. For example, in Psalm 8, this potent poem of wonder concerning God's creation and mankind's role in it, the Son of Man is referenced, giving this scope of the humble nature of mankind. Psalm 8 verse 4, "What is man that you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you care for him?" Instantly, we would think of Yeshua's usage while speaking about not being anxious in Matthew chapter 8, verse 20. Yeshua replied, "Foxes have dens and birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head." But the most potent section of the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament, where the Son of Man title or phrase is used, is in the prophetic book of Daniel in chapter 7. See, the book of Daniel is really neat. So in chapter 7 of Daniel, Daniel sees all of these crazy, gnarly looking beasts in this vision that he has. All these beasts with teeth and wings and claws and just beastly. And the beasts represent kings and people of kingdoms according to the text. Kings and kingdoms of people that have allowed their hearts to be ruled over by beastly instincts. And Daniel looks up and he sees God's throne room. And he sees God take his seat on his throne. And he's watching all of these beasts destroy the world. He's watching these human beings that, according to Genesis 1, were meant to have dominion through his authority, his spirit. But here, they're just being consumed by their own selfish, self-seeking desires, willing to do anything, even at the expense of others. He created human beings to be rulers along with him on this earth, but here, the kingdoms of humans have all become nothing more than beasts. They have become the very thing they were meant to have dominion over. Now, the vision that Daniel has continues, and it ends up concluding with the beasts trampling on top of the saints and overcoming them. A few verses later, these multiple humans are associated with this one single figure, this one human known as the Son of Man. So you have this Son of Man, and you have this huge beast that rises up and overtakes the Son of Man. It tramples him, rips him apart, kills him. And as the chapter goes on, it says that God then defeats the beast and vindicates the Son of Man by putting him on a cloud and bringing him up to sit on a throne beside him in heaven. This one human that represents all of the saints is associated with defeating the beasts. In fact, when we read the chapter, it is through the beast killing him that the beast loses its power and authority. It is through the beast killing him that the beast itself is defeated. He says that after the beast overpowers them, God's wrath and judgment is poured out to defeat the beast. So the Son of Man is then vindicated. He's placed in a cloud and carried up to heaven, up to sit in the throne room of God, where he's given all power and all authority in all of heaven and all of earth. Not only this, but the chapter concludes by stating that because of him now sitting in heaven and having all power and authority, it births his kingdom on earth made up of all nations, and his kingdom will last forever. This Son of Man sitting with this authority will reign forever and ever. I mean, for Christians, that is so awesome. We know who this is talking about. This Son of Man is given all power and authority in heaven and earth. This one from earth is now connecting heaven and earth together. Spoiler alert, it's talking about Jesus, the one that allowed the beast to pour out the very best that it had onto him, killing him. But it was precisely through him not responding with violence and anger and hate that allowed him to overpower the beast, defeating it. It is exactly not responding like the beast would that the beast itself was destroyed. just like Daniel 7 suggests. This is the setup for Yeshua, or Jesus, in the New Testament. This is why Yeshua uses this title more than any others to try to paint a picture for his followers and his disciples of what is about to happen. The clearest picture of this scene in Daniel 7 takes place in Matthew chapter 26. And in this chapter, Jesus has been arrested and he's taken to the Sanhedrin, the Jewish authorities, and he's being questioned by the high priest at the time named Caiaphas. Now remember, the high priest was the central Jewish authority. This is the guy you looked up to concerning your relationship with God. And he's asking Yeshua, are you the Messiah or not? And here is what Yeshua says. Verse 64. You have said so, Jesus replied. But I say to all of you, from now on you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the Mighty One and coming on the clouds of heaven. Then the high priest tore his clothes and said, he has spoken blasphemy. Why do we need any more witnesses? Look now, you have heard this blasphemy. What do you think? He is worthy of death, they answered. Man, did you catch that? Are you the Messiah? Yeshua answers, inferring he is the Son of Man from Daniel 7. That Caiaphas will see him exalted up, coming on the clouds of heaven, vindicated, given all power and authority in both heaven and earth. You will see me sitting in the throne room of heaven itself, that place where God sits. And Caiaphas tore his clothes and they sentenced him to die. Now, Yeshua is going to allow the Jewish and Roman authorities to carry out this sentence. The beastly powers, the beastly kingdoms of the day are about to trample the Son of Man in Matthew 26. And the irony for the reader is if Jesus is the Son of Man, what does that make Caiaphas in Matthew 26? Caiaphas, the high priest of Israel. In this moment, what does he represent from Daniel 7? It makes him a representative of the beast. Yeshua goes on to be exalted up on a cross, proclaimed king with a sign above his head, a crown placed upon his head. There on the cross, he assumed the power of God and defeats the beast. And that's the calling for all mankind. Will you listen to the voice of the serpent? Will you choose to determine good and evil for yourself without God's wisdom, or stand and partake of life? Will you live selfishly, violently? Will you live at the expense of others, lying, cheating, stealing? Or will you stand for a kingdom that is not of this earth, whose king reigns? We are called as soldiers of Christ, as Paul puts it, as ambassadors of Christ, to defeat the beasts of the world. But we don't fight the beast like a beast. That's not how Jesus taught us. No, we fight like an image of God. We fight like Yeshua. We fight hate, evil, prejudice with love. This is how we win. And that is the message of new creation and the gospel. This is how we manifest heaven on earth. So, in summary, the Son of Man is the most used title that Jesus uses to refer to himself. It is directly tied back to Daniel 7, where Daniel has visions of beasts that are tearing apart the world, and a figure known as the Son of Man boldly stands up to it. He allows the beast to throw everything it has at him, and it kills him. But it is through his death that the beast loses all of its power and authority, and the Son of Man is vindicated, ushered into the throne room of heaven, given all power and authority, and births an eternal heavenly kingdom on earth that lasts for all eternity. This is the prophecy about Yeshua, about Christ. Guys, if you'd like to study this topic further, I highly recommend a book by a Jewish scholar named Alan Segal titled The Two Powers in Heaven. You can get it on Amazon. It's awesome. I'll put the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this message, go ahead, guys, give us a like. It really helps the channel out. If you didn't, feel free to hit that dislike button. Please let us know what your thoughts are in the comments below. If you have any questions, we would love to talk to you about this topic. It is a passionate topic for us. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that little bell to be notified whenever we upload new content every single week, or go live with our weekly church services every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, guys, stay fit, stay founded in truth. We'll see you next time.